Welcome to the Elementary STEM Coach Podcast. I'm your host, Naomi Meredith, a former classroom teacher turned K-5 STEM teacher and coach. With over a decade of experience teaching and a master's degree in STEM leadership, I'm here to coach you throughout the year to help you gain back more time to create innovative experiences for your students. We are back at it with some fun interviews for this summer, and I am so excited for you to hear from the fun guests that I have lined up for you. I took a little break from interviewing, and I definitely missed it. And so it was so much fun talking with the guest that I'm going to be introducing you to. She was so sweet, so warm, and so passionate about what she does, and she was such a fun guest. I chatted with Kara Houston, who is a proud member at the company SelfCAD. If you haven't heard of SelfCAD before, they specialize in their cloud-based software for CAD modeling or computer-aided design. You might know this best in your elementary STEM experience for a platform that does 3D modeling, but they also specialize in other ways that you can create inside of this platform along with the 3D modeling. So definitely check them out because we talk about it within this episode, but poke around on their website, try it with your students because there's a lot of different ways that students can create that are really important for them to learn and things that they're probably already wondering about trying for themselves. Kara is so passionate about what she does. You can see it in her face if you're watching the video version. You can hear it in her voice and help others bring their ideas to life. I am so excited for you to listen to this interview and get you excited to teach 3D modeling to your students. This is something both Kara and I are passionate about ourselves. So we had a lot of fun chatting because we know how powerful that this type of creating can be with kids. Even if you're not an expert, none of us are born knowing how to do this. I wasn't either, but I do mention this in this episode that 3D modeling is actually one of my most favorite things to teach. And I even have my 3D printers running right now. Maybe you hear it in the background, but I think you're really going to enjoy this interview. Soak it all in and take some notes because there's some good gems inside of here. Well, thank you so much, Kara, for being here today. I'm so excited to chat with you. And before I hit record, I was telling you I haven't done interviews in a little bit. I just took a little break from interviews and no one's really asked where the interviews have gone, but I think they're really excited for this. And this will come out this summer. And so teachers will have a bit more time to listen in and learn new things. So thanks so much for being here.
That's awesome. Yeah, I am so happy to be here. And I love that. There's always good to have some ideas in the summer to keep us all going.
Yes, I agree. It's so good to just dive on in and have that mental space where you feel like you can learn new things because the school year can get super, super busy.
Right.
uh, so, if you would, before we jump so deep into what we're talking about today, how did you get into 3D printing and like interested in 3D printing? Like, how did that interest start for you?
Okay, so for me, I'm a mom first, like probably a lot of your listeners. I was just juggling motherhood and my other careers, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, this company needs some help. Would you like to?" And as soon as I started getting involved with SelfCAD, I was so interested just for their mission to empower kids with these tools and help young girls have access to tools that they might not have been introduced to for. I took my daughter, I think the first week I worked there, I took her to a STEM event where she met astronauts and engineers and scientists. And I just thought, this is so powerful. This is really cool. So
It's so cool. Did you have a 3D printer before? Had you ever like played around with them yourself? Or was that kind of just something you just like their mission? And you're like, let's jump on in and learn as we go.
yeah, I did not even have a 3D printer at that point. I was just very interested in their mission, and every person that I worked with was so passionate. They were beyond the moon, and so that was really easy to just glide right in. And then I went from part time to full time to, working with nonprofits, and it just grew, and it was really beautiful.
That's really cool. What does your daughter think about like 3D printing? Like now that you have like firsthand experience and like had no more behind the scenes, like what does she think about all of it?
So interested. She's so inspired. She likes to create things like earrings, jewelry, things like that. Definitely the fashion caught her eye. And yeah, she's really inspired.
I love how you say the fashion part. So I got 3D printer. Well, okay, so I had them in my classroom. And there's some other podcast episodes I have about 3D printers. And then so for I started a new after school club, a 3D printing club, and I was long-term subbing at the time, and the school didn't have a 3D printer. They still don't, so I used mine for it. And I had the printer in the classroom, and I also was like, you know what? I should make some jewelry. And it was around Valentine's Day. So I designed these little candy hearts for earrings and I made them for my friends. And my girlfriends like loved them and they was like wearing them to school and everything. Um, so it's pretty cool. Like I know I like it. Obviously 3D printing's for everybody, but I like how you connected like I mean, it is a way to create jewelry and fashion, and there's lots of ways to get girls excited, but that's just a really cool example. I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes when I talk to junior hires, they also are using this stuff in like sneaker design. So you'll see people light up their ideas like, oh, I would love to design a sneaker, you know? So I mean, it's just really cool the different industries that are using and incorporating and really relying on the 3D spatial design modeling process.
Yeah, I agree. With that, so kind of going more into it, you mentioned a little bit, but why do you think it is important for certain students to learn how to create 3D designs, whether it gets printed or not, or you're just doing all the modeling on the computer? Like, why is that important?
Well, I think kids are naturally curious and creative. So this is real just like putting the tools in their hands for what's already going on in their mind. Like I want to create something, but also giving them when they're really young that spatial awareness. So really how else can you understand a concept of a sphere as opposed to just a circle until you're looking at it and you're rotating it. So when they're really young, they might not have to do a strict curriculum, but getting to
Mhm.
be playful and getting to see the shapes like enlarged or shrinking is just it's really magical to see kids interact with it.
I agree. It does bring your geometry to life when I'm teaching 3D modeling. And the kids are actually way more adaptable when they see it than we think. It's not as overwhelming. I think for the adults, we're like, oh, it's super overwhelming. I don't understand it. But it's just like building with blocks. And when I would teach it, I have these foam blocks that I will squish down and kind of show them how things stack in the real world. So saying, oh, here's what you can do in a platform, same type of concept. It's almost like using digital clay or digital blocks. Like you can't physically touch it with your hands, but the kids grasp onto it really, really quickly. Would you say the same thing from what you've seen?
Yeah, absolutely, and they just light up getting to create stuff. It's really cool way to design something, and then we also see when they get older them reverse engineer. So these middle schoolers can bring in a picture of an object. We can upload it, and then we can play around with, like, critical thinking, or how could we improve this object, or
That's
what if
cool.
we change the texture? And then their little creator minds, innovators come out. I love seeing that.
You mentioned it a little bit, but is it the same platform that you use with all kids, like K through 8, or is there like different variations of what you have the kids design in?
Where who I work with is SelfCAD, and we are
Mhm.
definitely professional grade, but designed to ride with the student all the way from 3rd grade. Really, we like to start about 3rd, but we talked about kindergarten, and there's definitely stuff to do younger too. But when we're really implementing a full-on program, I'd say 3rd grade all the way up until their career. And so getting them to have the same software instead of jumping around from Tinkercad,
Yeah.
AutoCAD, this is like they can grow a portfolio. So that's why I'm really passionate about it. I saw that they saw the need. There's something that this gap needs to be filled. Like what can carry kids through? What can they grow with? So our company has a lot of interactive tutorials so they can, you know, right off the bat just not fail. I like to say because they're going to walk you through it and you're going to have all this knowledge like and it'll walk you through step by step.
That's really helpful too, because I think it's hard from a teacher or if you're a parent wanting to do this with your kids, like understanding what platform to choose. And there's so many options out there. And especially when you're teaching STEM just across the board, you typically might not have as much experience yourself. So there's probably a lot of teachers and parents out there who might be on the fence starting this. And we know that it's really beneficial. Are there any careers? Like, do you have any career connections when it comes to like this modeling and creating online? Because we know it's important for kids. They're excited. This platform especially can carry on with them, but connecting it to what careers there might be, have you seen anything with that?
Yes, and I love to talk about that too because we're seeing it being used in way more than just architecture, but we're seeing like the CAD software being used in designing, like I mentioned earlier, the sneakers or fashion. It's in health sciences. So when we talk about you want to see the spine and how can we put a stent in the spine or how can we work on the heart and the actual shape of the heart is pretty intricate when you get into like the 3D world and when
Yeah.
you're inside of the heart and the arteries. So when you talk about health sciences, that's really so you might want to go into a form of medicine, but it might
Mhm.
be using like the software and using the
Yeah.
software to create some type of problem, like solving a problem. So there's different ways to be in medical field or in fashion. That's not necessarily what they might have been told
Yeah.
right off the bat. So that is what I love, connecting those dots. I really think of this type of software, SelfCAD, as a life skill. You
Oh,
can
cool.
for your own life, if you wanna
Yeah.
redesign your bedroom, like, "Okay, I'm gonna redesign what would this chair look like?" Like, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
No, I agree. And it's like it's thinking about, okay, well, how can I create that space or create that model where you can't always do that with cardboard. You could start that, but it does give more options. And I think when you design digitally like that, it's so much easier to make mistakes
Mhm.
and fix them because it's endless. And that was something that, especially with my 3D printing club kids, where I see them every week, they would get frustrated at first and just knowing, hey, this is on an unlimited space. So if you mess up, we can try it again or think about it in a different way. Or when I would give them feedback on their designs, we can easily go back and fix it. Or sometimes I would even, and not everything like you would print, but the things that I would print, sometimes I would print them with mistakes because I wanted them to see what had happened and why it didn't work. So there are just like those opportunities where, like STEM in general, there's so many avenues and things to try, but it is with that 3D modeling, like it has a lot of different options that you can't do in other types of projects. And some kids will really, really connect with that in ways that, like you said, with the health sciences and the engineering or the fashion, where you might not always have those materials or ways to do that with other types of things.
Yes, I love that. I love what you said. That club you have sounds so cool. Like, when you think about, okay, you gotta build something, each time you use materials, it costs money. But when you're just
Hmm.
designing it, you know and SelfCAD is a cloud-based, so, you've got
Cool.
all kinds of options to just save and have all build up a whole portfolio.
Yeah, that's super helpful because I even like parents well, because I it sounds like with self-CAD, you can 3D print, but you can also just do other types of modeling. Are there templates to use? You said there's tutorials, but are there things that, oh, you could try this avenue or try this template? Are there things that make it really stand out?
There is a whole library of tutorials and templates and lesson plans. And then whenever we do work with the school, we free training for the teachers and things like that. So there's monthly challenges, I believe they also do. So kids get excited to participate in those. It's being part of this whole community of people. So yeah, there's a lot.
That's really cool. And even if let's say a teacher wanted to focus on the 3D printing side, could they still get into self-CAD even if they don't have 3D printers? Because I think a lot of teachers get wary of that. They say, oh, this is what I hear, at least from teachers. I don't have money for a 3D printer. My school can't afford it. We have too many kids. Our printer's broke. I can't do the design. And I tell them they still can. Would you guys say the same thing?
Yes, you said so much there. So
I know.
absolutely. They totally can design. A big part of our programs is the design and the design process. So you don't even have to have a printer in the room. You can do these lessons. You want to show the layers of the earth for these kids and just have them look at it and design it and they can label it on there and they don't ever have to print it. But
Mhm.
just getting to be able to conceptualize the space of that is really is really interesting for them and more hands-on than just, okay, here's a picture and I'm labeling a picture or a
Yes.
sheet of paper. They're actually moving it around and then labeling it. So no, they definitely don't need to actually print it. And I understand the concern with it taking time, but I do like to say that of course kids like to print. It's so
Yeah.
fun. And the thing that SelfCAD is really trying to do is to help schools. So we actually help schools apply for grants, technology grants.
Oh,
So I like to say it's never a closed door. If your school
yeah.
wants a 3D printer, we are going to find a way.
Yeah, that's cool.
We actually donate them ourselves, or we help apply. We help the school apply for a tech grant, and of course, there's a lot of great grants out there for STEM initiatives. So that's something. If they're at Title I schools all over the place, we are working with them and we are trying. So I hope that they will reach out to us if there's somebody that wants a 3D printer but can't, because if the desire is there, I'm ready to meet you halfway.
Yeah, and I agree with STEM specifically. It's a great space with those grant opportunities, and you don't have to be a STEM teacher to apply for those, like, at all. Like, I know a lot of programs, at least in my friends in the area, they're getting cut, but that is an opportunity where after school programs, there's those options. You were a classroom teacher and wanting to implement this. Parents, maybe there's options with that too. You never know, but I agree with you because in my opinion, I mean, I have 2 printers going on right now. I don't know if you can hear them. I have I have one, like, going right here. I'm actually making keychains for
Yes.
my club.
Yeah.
But a lot of it, honestly, is it can be the management when you're an elementary teacher. Because I mean, you have your kids, you can teach them how to manage, but, that's a whole other thing. But like you
Mm-hmm.
said, you can do all of the designing and the printing part's great, but the kids are still going to be able to do all of the skills and keep practicing, and it sounds like SelfCAD, like you even said, it can grow with them, so there's endless types of projects to do.
Endless. It's just wild. And the tutorials that we have are so cool. They're so interactive. It's just not like, when when I was in school, how things were where you just click to the next page. But everything here is like highlighted where you go
Oh,
next.
cool.
It's just set up for you to succeed. They're going to help you succeed. And then I do want to say when they get to middle school, they can do industry-based certifications. And we love that, like a virtual badge, and it helps encourage them and give them the confidence to keep going.
What are some of the industry badges that they can get?
There's 2. It's a professional one and an actual SelfCAD one that they get once they're reached, I believe it's 8th grade.
Oh, that's cool.
Very cool. Yeah, we love to share that with educators because, yeah, that's just another thing in their pocket, another thing they can share when they go on to whatever they go on to, if they're continuing education or if they're going right into a field.
Yeah, I feel like coding, especially 3D design and even video editing, like all the video behind the scenes are skills that can be I don't know, under built up sometimes in the elementary space. But they're so
Mhm.
needed because we see middle school and high schoolers do it. I'm like, elementary kids can do this too. I've done it. I've done all of the above with them, and I can confirm it can be done,
Yeah,
and shouldn't be overlooked.
absolutely.
So speaking of those projects, you talked about the badges, but and you've popped in some really fun projects. So thinking about those grade level bands, so like that elementary band, you said mostly 3rd through 5th, and then maybe middle school and high school. Are there certain projects that stand out to you inside of the platform, or even just ones that you've seen that are really cool that have been done?
So and I do want to say when you're talking kinder to second, one thing that they really have loved doing is creating a cookie cutter. So you
Mm,
take it through 2D shape and then
cool.
you're expanding it to make the 3D cookie cutter, and then they get to do a cookie cutter. So I think
That's cute.
it's so fun. Of course, you could do it at one of the holidays, know. So
Yeah.
I love to see that one. And then when we see, when kids get into science and they're labeling the parts of the flower, that's a really cool one that they can do all the petals and the in and the out. Kids, like I know you were saying the keychains. All the kids love to do their name keychains. It just
Mm,
is so personal for them. And then they have
yeah.
the souvenir of their name. So, yeah. We've seen high school kids create or middle schoolers do these pencil toppers, and then they have to,
Cool.
pencil stands, and then we try to really get the engineering brain going where it's like problem solving. So that's like the reverse engineering of getting an object and how can you make it better or this one didn't work. So what's the next step?
How long does it typically take for projects to be created by kids? Are they usually semester long, or have they been like really quick, like a couple day activities?
There is all different types, but definitely I think a lot of them are shorter, a couple days, and they've created something or they've labeled something. And the teacher can also create something and then the kids draw on it or color it or change it, or it can go the other way that the kids actually have full reins. Hey, can you create a set from this time in
Mhm.
history? So I
Oh,
mean,
cool.
curricular engagement, we're seeing it in math and in science and in biology and so yeah, they can actually build a set or mixed reality of something.
Yeah, that's cool. It's kind of reminds me, and I know it's still around with like augmented reality stuff. Like I know the goggles are like you still have them. They get expensive to have in schools, but I just like remember doing some of that AR stuff with students, and like they could touch it and play with it, but it's like the same thing but without the goggles, and they're creating those things that maybe could even be in augmented reality, that AR stuff.
Yes, absolutely. So when we write STEM grants, we include the AR, the VR goggles, and we do include curriculum for
Cool.
create that kind of stuff too. So like kids can take an area and they can add like almost like a video game, like fruits or different things into the space. Yeah, making it's really fun stuff. Animation, things like
Oh, cool.
really
Oh, that's so cool. So you could do that all in SelfCAD and then use it with the goggles?
yes.
That's awesome.
Really cool. I mean, so yeah, any school out there that wants to apply for a STEM grant, like please contact us because we love to see or the summer camps. Let me think of there's after school programs, there's the summer camps, and you like you said, you do not have to be a STEM teacher. We do like you to
Mhm.
be an established
Yeah.
school. And also, you don't have to have funding. Like you can be any type of teacher that has the interest. If the interest is there and there's two teachers to do the summer camp or to do the after school, then we're there. We're ready to
Yeah.
train you and we're ready to, go forward with that. And, you're seeing lots of cool, like you mentioned, there's STEM for girls clubs, there's coding clubs, there's
Mhm.
robotics clubs. All these cool clubs are starting to get built. And then we want to give them, the curriculum to do more things. What else can we do now?
I agree, and it's a great way with clubs. I've always said this about clubs. If you don't know how to do the thing, if you don't know anything about 3D modeling, it's actually great to do in a club because you only have a handful of kids, 25 kids, and they're pretty forgiving. For the most part, those kids actually wanna be there, and they're
Mm,
super into it, so they're gonna find things that you never even had thought about you'd be teaching, and I knew about 3D design to do my 3D printing club, but my kids are so passionate and intense about it that I've actually had to plan more projects because they're actually pretty quick at stuff. And then I'm actually going to do like a more advanced one next school year. But it's a great way if you were a teacher and want to get into this, or let's say you're a classroom teacher and you want to be a STEM teacher, run a STEM 3D modeling club, have that in
mhm.
your belt, and then you'll just feel more confident if you do become a STEM teacher teaching more kids because it's one of my most favorite things to teach. It's like
Oh,
low key one of my most favorite things. It's actually really clean. I like that.
right?
It's very clean.
True.
But I like how the kids are creating with technology and making it meaningful and really using it in a constructive way and not just sitting there passively watching videos or whatever. Like you said, the tutorials are interactive, um, but they're creating in meaningful ways that could lead into who knows what for their jobs.
Yeah, and it's giving them the confidence to also create stuff of their own. Like, what ideas do you have? How do you want to make this shape, or how do you want to, change something in your world? It's so giving them like, here, you have power. You have this whole world. Create something. And
Yeah,
it's really cool for them. But I love that you're doing that. I love after school clubs. I'm like,
me
so
too.
I'm like, you join as many as you want to because it's like access to things that you're passionate about.
Mhm. It is. It's fun. It's really fun. It's a really cool way to interact with kids that's like academic, but not entirely. And you just see another side of kids. It's really sweet.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can tell you really love what you do. I just said it like oozes from you and I love
Ah, thank you. I think that should have been my middle name, but it wasn't really a thing. I was little. So anything you want to share if teachers are on the fence about getting started or anything else that they should know? Anything you want to share with them?
I would say definitely just if you're even on the fence, just check out selfcad.com and just take a look, just play. And I think you'll right off the bat be intrigued. But I don't want anyone to be discouraged. I don't care if you're Title I. I don't care if you're rural. We're working with like some places in Africa where they don't have internet, where they're going to use the internet, they're downloading our stuff, and then they're taking it back home. And so, I mean, there's no closed door, and you probably have students that are interested. So, and the tutorials are going to be there. The training is there. Support is there. It is not like, here's a CAD software. I mean, I hear from teachers, unfortunately, is like, we have a 3D printer, but I'm not sure what to do, or they don't have the guidance, so the tools that they need to be able to empower the students. So it's not really fair if they have the printer, but a lot of them don't have the printer too. But like I said, there's no reason that you can't do that. It is for everyone. It's professional grade, but it is like, it's just made to help you learn and made to help you create.
I 100% agree with that. Like, don't let the 3D printer, if you have one, be a paperweight. Kids, if you say 3D printing, all the kids are going to want to do it. I promise you. 1,000%. I've taught hundreds and hundreds of kids, and all of them, when they hear the word 3D printer, they get so excited.
Yeah. I mean, for me, when I was growing up, I would have loved to see my stuff brought to life. And that's why kids do love getting involved in those ones where they are in charge of making something, not just like being told what to make, but they're getting to get their hearts out there.
Well, I'm so excited about this platform, and I'm excited to dive in myself, since as I am continuing my 3D printing and 3D modeling journey. I did get approved to do 2 more clubs, so like a 1.0, 2.0. So I'm really excited to play around with this with my students, because I know that they want an extra challenge, and I'm excited. I like learning new platforms and seeing what's out there. And this is definitely one that I'm going to explore and add to my own STEM toolbox. So I am so glad that you popped in today and told us all about it. It's so important for us to hear about all of these cool tools that are helpful for kids.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really cool. It's so fun.
Good. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. And I'm so glad that we have this connection.
As me too. Feel free to reach out anytime with anything.
And if other teachers want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
So selfcad.com, or they can find me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to connect on LinkedIn, Kara Houston. And please check out selfcad.com. I think you're going to just fall in love.
Well, thank you so much again, Kara, for coming in, and can't wait to hear how teachers are using this in their classrooms.
My pleasure. This was really fun. I loved connecting. This was cool.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Elementary STEM Coach Podcast. I would love to connect with you over on Instagram at NaomiMeredith_, or send me an email to elementarystemcoachpodcast@gmail.com. Also, make sure to check out my website, NaomiMeredith.com, to see all the show notes from today's episode and shop my K-5 STEM resources. Any questions you have, needs for resources, or ideas for episodes, get in touch. I'll talk to you soon.